Oh yeah, victory! Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So you've been following my builds on this car. I put in those 14-inch rotors off the GS 350 F Sport a while back, and my front, I tested my 18-inch front wheel and it didn't fit. And when I was putting it on, I kind of got discouraged, so I kind of quit. But I think after doing some research, the 18 should fit around there. But I think on mine, I used those ISF shields and they were kind of putting the wheel off center, so that's what might have been one of the reasons why it was touching the caliper. So today I'm gonna take that apart. I'm gonna try it again without the caliper on there, see where the clearances are, and see what I need to adjust to try to get it to fit. So stay tuned. So if you guys were following my last video when I was putting those that big brake upgrade on from the GS 350 F Sport right there, I test fitted my 18s right here and they didn't fit because they were hitting that little second step that's right here. It's like a little 1/4 inch, maybe an 1/8 inch step. And I was doing some more research, and there was a couple guys that have done this where they've put the 3IS wheels on there, which are also 18s. I don't know if it's the wheel design or what that might have made it fit, but when I was putting it on here last time with when I was testing it, I got the lug holes to kind of line up, but they were kind of off center because of those ISF shields I have back here, which are a little bit too big for the clearance to fit those when I was testing them. So what I'm going to do today, I'm going to take this guy off, put it to towards the back, and I'm going to see if that wheel clears that shield, and maybe that shield is what's causing it to not fit around this caliper. And if that's the case, I might try to bend the edges of those shields to try to shape it and make it clear these 18s. If not, I'll take them off and see what I can shave off to make it work. One other thing I'm going to test out today is this 18 by 4 inch alloy wheel spare tire that I just got in. This is the one that I ordered online. It's off an RC or a GS 350 that has these brakes. So it's an aluminum wheel, which is designed for the aluminum hats on the rotors. So I'll test that clearance. I know that's going to fit, but I just want to see the dimensions of that, and I'll probably measure the dimensions inside here to here and then compare it to that stock wheel right there and see how that turns out. But I got this thing, I paid 120 bucks for it, which is not bad because everybody else wanted over $200 for it, shipped from California to Florida, so that was a good ass deal. Anyway, it was a little bit scuffed up. The car was in a rear end accident, so I'm pretty sure they threw all kinds of crap in the trunk that scratched up. So one of the things I'm gonna do before I even put it in the car, I'm gonna sand this down. I'm probably gonna spray it with a 2K gloss black, either that or I'll just use some other gloss black that I have, because I'm hoping it never gets used. It's gonna be on the trunk forever, like my original one that's in there now. So I just want to make it look a little bit better and then get rid of some of these scuffs. But anyway, I'll see how that fits in the trunk. This thing measures in at about 16.5. So we're gonna measure the inside of the stock wheel now just to get the dimensions. So the outer lip here, which doesn't really matter to us, this one measures in at 17.5. A little over 17.5, maybe 17 and 5/8. Is that 5? Yeah, 5/8 is bigger than a half. So that's not the issue. The next step on here, that's at about, it starts at around 16 and 5/8, 16.5, and it tapers down to about 15 and 3/4 once you get down to where the hub is. So that's where our bottleneck is on this. So right outside of that lip, you're a little short of 16, maybe 16 of it straight across. So one of the things I was thinking about is if I use a spacer between here and there from the spacer, so that's, we just need to clear that little lip by the length of this ruler right here to the edge. So if you measure this from there, it's about 1 inch. So I've got these 30mm spacers I'm gonna try out. I ordered some of these just to try because I didn't want to order new wheels. I'd rather, since I hardly ever use these wheels, I'd rather have something temporary for spacers. So I ordered some hub centric 30mm spacers for I think 40 bucks on eBay. So they fit around the hub right there, and then this side fits onto the actual car part, and then you put and then these guys come with the nuts, and you screw them in, and then you got extra lugs that you know, right there. So we're gonna try that out to see if we'll clear the brakes. First thing I'm gonna do is test the spare tire, make sure everything fits on here. So we got, obviously this spare tire was designed for this setup, so it clears perfectly. Our wheel measured about 16 inches, so plenty of space on either end of this caliper to clear the wheel. So that's designed for that. It clears the ISF shields perfectly. I put the light back there so you can kind of see. Let me turn off this light so you can see it right through. It doesn't even, the wheel's not even wide enough to go past that ISF shield anyways, but it clears it if it did. So if you were ever to get an 18-inch setup, 16-inch inside diameter of the wheel will clear these brakes perfectly fine, as long as the spoke design. This is a convex, so the spoke comes out a little bit. It actually comes past the tire here. That explains why this got so scratched up. It fell on its face at one point in time, but it clears it perfectly fine. About a half inch, maybe a quarter, more than a half inch clearance on this. So that ISF shield clears barely, like literally an eighth of an inch on all sides. So it's not this thing that's causing it to touch, but yeah, if you look at it without the caliper in there, just the clearance is very minimal. Look at that for that side where the caliper sits. So it's definitely the wheel that's going to be blocking that caliper. Let's try this one more time to see if we did something wrong that it might fit. So it is, the caliper just right now is just sitting right on the rim. You can tell by just putting the pressure back on the wheel, so it's not even going into the hub centric part of the wheel. So definitely the caliper won't clear this OEM wheels. So it's definitely this caliper. It's way too big for these OEM 2006 to 2010 or 2011. I forgot when they changed those things up, but definitely doesn't fit. It hits right here on this little nub right here. You could tell from the indentation in the tape. I didn't see it really. I don't think the bottom was an issue. It's just the top, because once it blocked the top, then it wedged the wheel right into there. So if you take this off, you can see it's basically the high point right here of the caliper. So I don't know if there's even room to shave, because remember on my install video I was showing how they trimmed so much of this monoblock down from the previous version on the 350s that they probably have very little room in there, and it's probably a channel for the fluid to go across, so definitely not going to fit. Score. So this thing clears just barely. I mean, like millimeters barely. Right now it looks like it's rubbing on the tape, but it spins freely, and yeah, you could tell right there the outside of the caliper is just barely clearing that lip. The fat part that I showed before that was hitting is now on the part of the wheel that is tapers down, so that clears a little bit. So that looks like it clears, but it only took basically a 1-inch spacer, 30mm spacer to make it work. And it's going to be it's gonna be pretty close on the fender. It might even rub the fender out here, but at least you know, if I ever have to use my stock wheels, which I really do, I mean, I've used them maybe 3 times in the 13 years I've owned this car, you know, twice to rebuild my wheels, and back when I first bought the car for the first like 3 months. But other than that, I've never used these. They still have the original tires on them from 2007. So, you know, I'm just glad I had a solution instead of buying some new wheels that was gonna sit around and rot. So I took that tape off, I bolted everything down a little tighter just to see the real clearance on this, and it's like, wow, I mean, it's literally millimeters of clearance, barely clearing that high part, and then even on the outside part that tapers down on the wheel, it barely clears the caliper where it tapers down itself. So this is, you talk about tight fit, this is tight fit. So you get, let me get the light behind it. Yeah, like, look at that. I mean, oh man, that's like millimeters of clearance on that. Same with the at the bottom. Let me get this, turn off this light. Turn off this light in the front, and then we'll look in the back. Yeah, man, that is a tight fit. Yeah, definitely need that minimum of a 30 millimeter spacer to fit this thing. I'm gonna lower it down, see how much room I have, or how far it sticks out, if it's even drivable. Yeah, there it is, back down. Look how far it sticks out. Wow. Oh man, if yeah, I need some negative camber to make that work. I think most people do a 15 millimeter spacer on stock wheels on this car to get it to flush. This is a 30 millimeter, so I'm twice that. If I ever have to ride on stock wheels, this definitely will work for a short period of time, but it wouldn't be something I'd ride around too prolonged. Look at that, the wheel gap. As long as it doesn't, I think when the suspension travels, it'll end up cambering in, so it won't rub as much. But you know, if it fits my 245s on my 20s, it should fit 225s on these 18s if I had to drive. At least I found a solution, and it works, and happy with it. As long as I didn't have to buy 19s or another set of wheels that's gonna sit around. But the 20s are always gonna look good on this car, so most likely that's the wheel that I'm always gonna be on, unless I have a blowout or something happens to this wheel. The chances of me actually riding on those things with the spacers are probably slim to none, but at least I have that option. It only cost me 40 bucks. Get these 20s to clear. I've trimmed away this thing, and it's been trimmed like this for years. I mean, when I first had the car, I had to trim these when I lowered the car. I trim, you know, there's this part right here, you just take a grinder to it and just shave it down as much as you can down to this plastic. And then recently I broke the little square right here that fits the OEM tab, so I basically relocated that bolt right there using a nut and a screw, and it's been holding pretty well. Last thing I want to do is use one of those ugly looking things out here, so that's why I'm gonna try as much as I can to get these things to work back here. The 20s definitely look way better on this with the 14-inch filling in the gaps. Thanks for watching all the way to the end, guys. I hope you got some information from this quick video that about the spare tire, getting that spacer solution to clear my brakes. I don't know how many of you guys are actually going to do this big brake upgrade, but at least now we have some more information on that. At least, you know, even the guys that do just the winter setups on their GSs and the RCs that use these brakes, at least you guys have a little bit of idea on what you can fit and can't fit on the 18-inch options. But anyways, if you guys like this type of content, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video. Thanks for watching, guys.